Hello folks, and welcome back to my channel, The Scottish Model Railway Guy. So, if you've never been here before, welcome to the channel. If you have, then welcome back. So, just before we move on to what we're actually going to look at today, which is how to make a zebra crossing very cheaply, just want to show you this little boy here. I think the rusty rail sitting at the edge of the track's beginning to take shape. Got some nice weeds, and I've actually got it glued down now so you can't move it. Started covering up this Hornby link point. That's not the word for it. The word is Hornby link wire, sorry. So I've started covering that up with some old Metcalf build stuff that was left over. It always comes in handy, and you can see I've been going along the side of these rails with a little bit of sort of rusty coloured paint, but if you look in really closely, at the edge of the platform you'll start to see the detail starting to come here. That was never finished, and it is now. So, to the point, what are we looking at today? So I'm going to zoom out, and this is how the layout looks from this angle. Over here, I've always intended to put a zebra crossing in, but how do we do that? First of all, I'm going to get some sticky labels, which you can get really cheaply, loads of them for a couple of pounds, and I've got some leftover self-adhesive cobblestones, or flagstones I guess you would call them in England. Slabs, cobblestones, flagstones, but they are self-adhesive, and they were for one of the buildings over to the right hand side. The thoughts are I could drop them in just here, just after the hedging that I put in with a little gap to allow people to get on and off the platform. So if you hang on, that is exactly what I'm going to do, and see how it turns out. If it doesn't turn out well, you know, we just crack on and do it again. So here we go. So I never really like looking at the layout from the top, but we have to in this instance. It's quite tight up here, so I've not got an awful lot of space, but I've pre-cut these two that are pretty much the same size, and remember they are self-adhesive. Now if you look at any crossing, it always starts with a gap. Imagine this is the curb. I'm going to put cobblestones in here. Probably going to cut these into 3 strips and then see how they space out, but before I take the backing off and stick them down, because that would just be foolish. So if you hang on, I shall do that, and we will be back in the blink of an eye. That was the blink of an eye. So now we've got that. Now bearing in mind I'm not sticking anything down quite yet, even though it looked incredibly unlikely when I set out to do it. I've now got 6 of these guys, and if I was to just sort of map it out before I do anything, I'll be able to figure out, is this going to look right, is it going to work, all that sort of stuff. So maybe 5 will do. Aye. Now, do they have to be perfect? No. I'm going to at some point try to match that colour there and see if I can do some dry brushing and weathering to get it quite right. So, but you can see the effect it's going to be. So another blink, in fact I'm not going to do a blink of the eye, I'm going to do a hyperlapse, because that's the best way to see how I go about doing the whole thing within seconds. So hang on, and we're going to go to hyperlapse. So here we are. You can see in a bit of detail what I've done here. It's turned out okay. I've still got some dry brushing to do to get this in, so if you give me a wee minute more, you'll start to see that come together. I think these cobblestones look really good, and I'm going to show you a wee trick here at the back that you can't quite see, but there is a gap, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with that. Effectively a little garden, and it will turn out really quite nice. So hang on, I'm going to try and match that, the grey that it's on, and try and rough it up a wee bit with some paint and see how that goes, mixing it to the perfect greys, the hard bit. Now, you've came this far in my videos, I guess you must be enjoying it if you've came this far, so why not subscribe? At this moment in time, I've just passed over 800 subscribers, so it seems quite a lot of people like my content, which I'm really chuffed about, because I just set about to sort of start making a basic layout and ended up here. So please do feel free to subscribe if you like, or throw me a like, throw me a comment, whatever you choose. All are appreciated. So here we go to the last step, the little garden. Let's go in here and dry brushing across there, and I'm going to do that in hyperlapse so you don't get bored. So hang on, here we go. Starting to look okay, starting to look a bit worn. Sort of the last bit that's sitting bare is here. So I'm literally just going to fill it up with some of this Jarvis Dark Earth Scatter, which I quite like. It is like, I don't know, garden soil. So I'm literally just going to sprinkle that on and then tidy it up with a brush. And then at the back end, what I'll do is I shall put a 50-50 mix of PVA and water in, and I think I will take the cobbles right up to the edge of those steps, which will look quite good. And then I've got a wee garden area there, looks pretty cool. Yeah, definitely the cobbles into that, right up to the end, and then I'll just find the perfect place for this earth scatter. You can see the effect coming straight away, especially if I take a wee zoom in, like so. You can see it's a lovely wee effect. So, yeah, do you want to know what? I think I'm going to finish the cobblestones when I'm here. I've got it to hand, and then you can see the entire thing as intended. And when I say intended, I literally made the whole thing up as I was going along. So there was no true intention to it. It's more being creative with what I've got. And what I do have is stuff left over from other projects. So yeah. And now zooming into a different angle to see that sort of complete, you can see how that looks. Bring a logo up to it, waiting at the level crossing, looks, I think that's turned out well. I think I've managed to weather the wee stripes, and when I was going through it earlier and not being overly bothered about the widths and lengths, there was a reason for that, because I knew that when I introduced the sort of very dry paint at the end, that it would, you know, I could paint as much and as long as I wanted to get it to look as if, you know, it's been there for a long time, and I think that's worked, and that's why going for the absolute accuracy wasn't necessary. So yes, you've came this far. I hope you enjoyed it. To all the people that do subscribe, thank you for that, and to those who've came this far, then please do feel free to subscribe. I hope you enjoyed that one today. I've still got a little bit more work to do in this zone, but it's beginning to take shape, I think, and I'd love to hear your comments on it. So thank you. Have a nice day.